MLS Matchday, Scarves and Spikes, Sydney and Henry with you as we look back at, what is this, match day 36, 37? I get confused, Henry. It's
36 and 37. 37 was
36
this
and
weekend. 36 was the one game that there was midweek.
oh yeah, it's confusing. They all blur together, I guess, at this point. But so I would say supporter shield, but decision day is what, about 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away, and that'll be it for the regular season and the playoffs, of course, after that. And I still feel like supporter shield will come down to the wire, but there are a lot of playoff races, Henry. I was looking at the standings. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Western Conference, 8 through 12, still separated by 4 points. I already mentioned supporter shield that's coming down to the wire. We do need to celebrate, by the way. 2 teams punching their ticket to the postseason, Henry. Columbus Crew with the New York Red Bulls loss to NYCFC that we'll talk about a little bit later. The Seattle Sounders still haven't won a match since Leagues Cup, but they drew the Whitecaps. They punched their ticket to the postseason. No surprise for either of those teams, right?
Yeah, you expected it. Seattle, especially with the season that they've been having. Columbus, I think you imagine, given where they were in the standings, because again, I mean, the East did get quite tight and you never knew what was going to happen. But for me, it was never really in doubt that either of those teams was going to be in the postseason.
We do need to say commiserations, though, to St. Louis City FC, who got absolutely curb stomped by LAFC. They're out of the playoffs officially. I mean, there's no doubt they're going to be at the end of the day, but it's official. St. Louis City FC will not be in the MLS Cup playoffs.
Sad. But
yeah,
how many teams are there left to determine if they're qualified or eliminated? It's got to be a handful at this point.
So I can tell you that in the Eastern Conference, there's one
in total.
I 8. Are you asking how many they've qualified for playoffs?
No. I'm asking how many have not been eliminated and also haven't clinched.
Okay, so 2 in the Eastern Conference, and then it is 5 in the Western Conference, 7 in the Western Conference who have not yet punched their ticket to the playoffs. One team, though, in the East, we'll talk about later, is not Charlotte, Chicago, the other CH city, Chicago. Chicago Fire on the verge of punching their ticket to the postseason for the first time since 2017. And we will talk about that, I think, a little bit later on. But Henry, LAFC, man, they are cruising. They can't stop scoring.
Yeah,
can't stop.
The Sun train continues. The Sunny Mania, whatever name you want to have for it.
Bouanga Bash, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was interesting because, I mean, Son and Bouanga has kind of emerged as the new kind of big duo in MLS at this point. And so over on the MLS and Spanish side, we kind of came up with a little bromance name for them, Songa.
Hey,
if it works, it works. If you have any LAFC fans, let me know what you think of Songa.
you heard it here first. But 3-0 against St. Louis, and look, nobody expected anything different with St. Louis and LAFC. There's a massive gulf between the two sides. Bouanga scores. Son has a brace. Another multi-goal effort for Son. LAFC have outscored opponents 15-4 through their 4-match win streak. Son, 8 goals to assist in 8 matches. Bouanga, 8 goals and assists in his last 4 matches. I got to ask you, right off the top, Henry, LAFC, they're the team to be in the West, right? Outside of Vancouver. Yeah.
100%. I think even over Vancouver at this point.
Yeah.
Just the quality that they have, the unstoppable attack, it seems, because, I mean, it's impossible basically to keep Son and Bouanga quiet. They've formed an electric partnership. They understand each other very, very well, and they've won by multiple goals now in several of their last few games. I think they've scored at least three goals in their past 4 games, I think it is. So no, I mean they're absolutely on a tear, and that's probably going to continue this weekend as they host Atlanta United. Um, but
Not the toughest schedule coming up for LAFC, by the way.
I mean, kind of besides that point, it's a huge credit to LAFC that they have constructed this roster, and
Mm,
you know I don't want to imagine what a full season of Son and Bouanga would look like in MLS because Son clearly still has, the quality, talent, the energy to absolutely just dominate in this league, and he's showing it so far. And Bouanga's living like a almost a second wind now with
yeah.
LAFC. I think he started the season quite slow, and now he's really grown into things. Suddenly, he's second in the Golden Boot race. I think like 1 or 2 goals behind Messi. So
Mm.
yeah, absolutely massive. And for me, LAFC is probably the team that gets to MLS Cup from the Western Conference side.
Yeah, I mean, look at the teams. I mean, San Diego, I feel like they've kind of petered out just a little bit. They're still a really good team. Vancouver, I mean, really good team, of course, with Mueller. White, if he's healthy. We still don't know the situation with a few other of their players. I mean, what's happened with Ryan Gauld? I mean, is he still around? Is he still alive? Do we need to check on Ryan Gauld to see if he's actually still exists? Because
He's
I
been
feel like we
injured
have.
since like March, hasn't
I
he?
know, I
Has
know.
he played?
I don't think he's played since then, to be honest with you.
Wow.
But it's a credit to them, especially with the way that White has been playing. Um, Other players, of course, on that roster, not just White. Of course, Mueller, you have to throw him in there. Brian White, already mentioned Manuel Sabi. You have to mention him. Sebastian Berhalter, who leads the team in assists with 10. A breakout season for him. Not the only Berhalter this year who has had a good season in MLS. And we'll clarify that statement a little bit later on. But no, this is a good Vancouver team. And my point is Minnesota. I mean, no disrespect to Minnesota. I don't think this is a team that's built for a deep postseason run. Seattle, I mean, they've had their struggles. Austin, Port. I mean, look, first round, LAFC Seattle. Do you really trust Seattle to take LAFC in a 4-game or a 3-game series? It's not
Oof,
happening.
the way they are right now, no
No,
way.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And my point is, you look up and down this conference, and outside of I don't know, maybe Vancouver, I don't think anybody can stack up to LAFC at this point in time. At least as we're
San
sitting here,
Diego, maybe.
maybe a huge maybe, but I don't know. That's just the way that LAFC are built. Beyond, of course, Son and Bouanga, all the way down the roster, up and down the roster. And this team is very good, very talented, very skilled. And at this point, sitting here today, at this point, I think I agree with you. They're going to get the MLS Cup at this rate, unless something dramatic happens, unless there's an upset, maybe in the knockout stages or something like that. But at this point, I don't see anybody beating LAFC in a 3-match series, let alone a knockout series, or a knockout match, I should say. Remaining schedule, we already mentioned Atlanta United going over there on Sunday, and then Toronto going over there. They're at Austin, at Colorado. So this is a team that could end the season on an 8-match winning streak. It literally could, and that's definitely when their sales going into the playoffs. Definitely, obviously, will push them further up the table and really position themselves even more to become that team out of the Western Conference. Who'd have thought, Henry, a few months ago that LAFC would be even close to MLS Cup, getting to MLS Cup? But here they are, like unbeatable, unstoppable, and just incredible to see the bond that Son and Bouanga have built in such a short time, right?
Absolutely. And I think, it's just an incredible, just one of the best upgrades, I think, going from, Olivier Giroud, who struggled to produce in over a year or
Yeah.
almost a year with LAFC, to Son, who suddenly, I mean, he can't stop contributing to goals, like whether it's goals, assists. He's doing so much for this LAFC side, and he's only just gotten here, right? Uh, so I kind of wonder sometimes, like, what if LAFC had Son for the Club World Cup? Like, how would that have looked potentially? Like, that
Mm,
would have been interesting. But yeah, I mean, definitely LAFC is for me the strongest Western Conference team going into the MLS Cup playoffs, I think it's certainly on for them to win the rest of these games. I think at the very least they win on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I mean, come
Yeah.
on, Toronto, who's eliminated from the playoffs, and
Yeah.
Austin and Colorado, who are both kind of scrambling to secure their spots. I think that's probably a safe bet to say that they could win those games. Again, it's MLS, you never know, but we also have someone in the chat, Fun World, saying that unfortunately Son and Bouanga are going to miss 2 games. Says away to a match. I don't know if that's what's it called? International break or something?
Yeah.
October
Yeah.
international break potentially.
Probably.
Um,
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I mean, even without Son and Bouanga, how much does that seriously cripple this LAFC side
Yeah.
against these? I mean, if we're talking about like a Miami or a Philadelphia or a San Diego, like maybe, but come on, we're talking about Toronto or Austin or Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's not really that much of a problem. And LAFC's through the playoffs anyway, so
Right.
it doesn't matter. I think once you get to the playoffs and that's a knockout format, I think LAFC just dominates these teams at that point.
Yeah, and just sort of, building off that point about Son of Bouanga. So international break is October 6th to the 14th. So don't know if you have if they get
They'll
called in.
miss.
I'm sure some will get called.
They'll miss the home against Toronto game, which is on the 8th, and then the away to Austin game, which is on the 12th.
Yeah, and then someone will probably get called in. Bouanga, I imagine will get called in by Gabon, Gabon national
No way
team.
they don't call him with this form.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, I think I'll have to double check. I think there will be in World Cup qualifying, against Gambia and then home against Burundi. So I imagine he will get called in, 100% called in into those matches. And then South Korea, I believe, are in qualifying as well for AFC. So yeah, that's a little twist of the tail. But to your point, Henry, I don't think with those 2 players missing, LAC really miss much of a beat. I mean, they're that good a team. They're that stacked a team, and all eyes are the playoffs. All eyes on the postseason, right? And again, with those 2 teams players playing at their full strength, full potential, who would bet against them? By the way, South Korea not in World Cup qualifying in the October window. Gabon is, but this is just a terrific team. It's just a very talented team, and I feel like the sky's the limit for them.
So I don't know. You want to hit on this question that we just got in the chat from Harry Namkung, asking, since Son's arrival, LAFC have scored 21 goals in 8 matches. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Bouanga and Son have scored 18 of them and last 17 straight. Who's going to score versus Toronto and versus Austin?
That's my only concern. Yeah, that's my only
Sure.
concern.
However, pick one of Jeremy Abobasi, David Martinez. You have some depth. I don't know if Nathan Ordaz is back from injury. I don't know how long he is gonna be out. I know that he got injured with El Salvador last window. I don't know if he's back or not. But you certainly have some talent that could step up. Not obviously not nearly the level that Son and Bouanga are, but I think you'll probably have enough overall quality to at least eke out some close wins or even draws. We'll see. That's a good question, though. It'll be interesting to see. And I think it's interesting, at least for that Austin game. If they're out for that Austin game, I think that's the most impactful one because Austin is one of the teams that's still trying to secure their playoff spot. Yeah. Toronto, it doesn't really matter. They're eliminated anyways, but that Austin game, I think, will be interesting for sure.
Yeah, and just real quick, you're right. Ordaz is still out. But, yeah, I mean, listen, they're still getting to the playoffs, LAFC. I think maybe you slip a few spots in the standings because of Son and Bouanga being out. But, that does bring up a larger point, and maybe we'll talk about that down the road. But what if one or both of them gets injured, right? Who do you turn to fill that massive void that one and both of them would leave if they go down? So that's definitely a great point. Something I was actually thinking about earlier today. It's like, what if one of them goes down injured? What if both of them go down injured. So I'm sure that's in the back of Steve Cherundolo's head. But at this point, LAFC, the sky's the limit, as I said, and they're just blistering form heading into the final stretch of the season here in Major League Soccer's 2025 season. Want to go to the East Coast? Want to go to the other coast while we're at it?
Yeah. Let's talk about a crazy scoreline. How about that?
6-0.
God, I feel like DC United has received like these types of beatings a lot this season. Is it just me, or have they like been beaten like this like at least 3 times this season?
It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So they've conceded 64 times, which is
gosh,
which is not even the highest number of goals allowed in MLS. That'll be Sporting Kansas City with 67. So at least they have that going for them. But it's another team where the golfing class is just massive, and obviously talking about Philadelphia Union beating DC United 6-0. Philly, by the way, who lost 7-0 at Vancouver, which we're not worried about because that was roster rotation. So that doesn't really count. But
I just thought I should put this out there. June 7th, DC United lost 7-1 to Chicago Fire.
Wow.
And then earlier this year, I believe, April 6th, they lost 6-1 to San Jose Earthquakes in what was the 30-year anniversary of the first ever MLS game. So that was that's a little bit of history for you, but also, wow, these games where they are just getting the brakes beaten off them, and those past 2 games, right? Yeah. Chicago and San Jose. It's not like we're talking about a different level of opponent here compared to Philadelphia. I don't know, man. DC has just been a mess this season.
Yeah, and they're obviously looking at 2025 or 2026, where Urquhart Sogat, who has raised eyebrows. He's their new chief soccer officer, so he's going to be taking his place, or he has taken his place. Randy Weiler, their new manager, their new head coach. So they're going to be putting their heads together to see how you can elevate this team in 2026. But it's just tough to see, right? One of MLS's charter franchises, one of the clubs that used to be a proud club in MLS, winning championships and trophies, are now show its former self. And where we sit here in Atlanta, we're seeing that to a lesser extent with Atlanta United. Hopefully they don't become the next DC United in that regard, right? But yeah, it's just sad to see that DC United, who just a few years ago, Henry, had Lucho Costa, they had Wayne Rooney, and I feel like that's kind of the last breath of hope that city has had from a footballing standpoint. But again, a shell of its former self. But Union still kicking, now 4 points up at FC Cincinnati. Cincy dropped points to Orlando City late in the match. So Philadelphia, with 2 matches remaining, NYCFC at home at Charlotte, who all of a sudden kind of had the shine come off of them just a little bit. I will throw out this stat that Matt Doyle, Henry, came out with in his weekly power rankings newsletter. And subscribe to that, by the way, if you haven't already. Philadelphia is against teams below the playoff line 12-1-3. Against teams above the playoff line, they're 7-6-3. So they're certainly punching down, and they certainly, have, for lack of a better term, maybe picked up a reputation of being flat track bullies, right? And punching down to their opposition. So I'm sure that's a concern that Philadelphia will have to, take into account, as playoffs get closer. If the postseason started today, Philadelphia, of course, play the winner of that 8-9 matchup, which right now would be against Columbus and Chicago. Who knows what could happen in a 3-game series when you're heavily favored, Henry, as we know in 2024. we have history on our side when it comes to that. But yeah, Union have been kind of punching down just a little bit, it seems like. And again, NYCFC at Charlotte, teams above the playoff line. So who knows? Maybe things get a little bit interesting down the road here with 2 matches to go in the Union season, right?
Yeah, and these 2 games are nothing to scoff at. NYCFC and Charlotte are both above the playoff line, and they
Yeah.
clearly have quality. They've gone on runs of their own, kind of in the middle to late part of the season. And they're playing really good soccer, both of them. So you can't underestimate them. Um, yeah, that's going to be interesting, especially given the stat that you just gave me. That's an interesting one because
Yeah.
that could go either way, really, if we're thinking about it. So we'll see what happens, but Philadelphia's got to win. Has got to win those games to put the Supporters Shield to bed for sure, and at least secure yourself one trophy this season.
Yeah.
I think that's a must.
And Champions
Uh,
Cup.
yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens, but kind of changing gears a little bit. Does Philadelphia have one hand on the Shield already? I think they do. I think they have
Well,
one hand on the
yeah,
Shield. Let's look at
maybe.
the standings, right?
Yeah.
They have 63 points. Behind them, FC Cincinnati with 59,
Yep.
and immediately behind them, right, San Diego FC with 57 and 32 games. So they have
They're
2 games
probably
left to
out of
play.
it, to be honest with you. I mean, they've
Yeah,
dropped
I'm
points
thinking they're out of it for
back to
sure.
back. Yeah.
Vancouver 57 points, but has 3 games left to play. I think they're probably the biggest threat to Philadelphia right now.
Not Miami.
Miami
Miami
56,
has
Miami 56 points
two
and 4
matches in
games to
hand.
play. So a maximum
Yeah.
of 12 points.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Miami might be. To me, it's a tie between like Miami and Vancouver, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's still an interesting Shield race, but I think it's tough. I think Cincinnati has Red Bulls in Montreal, one that's eliminated, one that's probably going to be eliminated at some point soon. I don't know. I have to. Again, it's still a good Shield race.
No, it
Because
is.
of these teams that have like games in hand, and you never know. Decision day is going to be the ultimate, decider, I think. But for Philadelphia, the job is clear, right? The task is clear. Just win your 2 remaining games, and with that, you pretty much put the matter to bed, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But these chasers, they cannot afford to drop any more points. So that's extra motivation for these teams. Not just the Shield, but we're talking about playoff position. That is a big advantage because, again, for those of you that may not be familiar, the MLS playoffs, the first round is a 3-game series where if you are in the top 4 of your conference, you get home field advantage in 2 of those 3 games.
Yep.
And the higher seed you are, the more you're going to have that home field advantage in the playoffs. So we'll see. But for me, the Union has to be, for me, they have one hand on the trophy already, basically.
Yeah. And let's look at the remaining schedule for Vancouver and Miami. Vancouver have San Jose at home, and then they travel to Orlando. Then they have Dallas at home. So outside of Dallas, maybe a couple of matches that aren't a sure thing. San Jose are just so up and down, right? So we don't know what to expect from them week in and week out. Orlando have maybe figuring things out. I don't say figuring things out. They've always been a good team, but they're kind of a little bit up and down. I mean, they've got draw, win, draw over the past 3 matches. And again, of course, dropping points to FC Cincinnati on the road the other day. So that's something to think about for them. But that's Vancouver's schedule. Miami have, I would think, a much more straightforward schedule. Chicago at home, New England at home, Atlanta at home, at Nashville to end the season. So I think Miami has the easier schedule, if you could say that. And if they win all 4 of their matches and Philadelphia drops points, I think the Shield goes to Miami. So again, this one that's going to go down to the wire. I think you're finally starting to see some separation. I think right now it's really a 2 to 3 horse race between Philadelphia, Vancouver, and Miami. Cincinnati's there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to bring it home. San Diego, like we said, have kind of dropped points over the past couple of matches. Vancouver have dropped points, but still have several matches in hand, or 1 match in hand, I should say, against Philadelphia. New York City can't catch them, I don't think, unless something dramatic happens. Miami are the only team outside of that who can catch up. So I think it's going to come down to the final day, and it's either way, it's been just an exciting Shield race, as exciting as I feel like you and I have seen it. People we spoke to around the league, they agree this has been just quite a Shield race. And again, we reiterate, there's all likelihood this one will go all the way to October 18th.
And one last curveball that I want to throw in here for the Union. The news broke today that midfielder Quinn Sullivan tore his ACL. So he is out for out for the playoffs. And given how late this came into the season, he's probably missing the first part of next season as well. So that's a brutal blow because Sullivan, he has been key for the Union. He's played 28 games this season, 2 goals, 7 assists. So he's clearly been an important part to this team, and one that Bradley Carnell has leaned on for a lot. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they fill kind of his gap there. And how much that really weakens Philadelphia, given these last 2 games. Again, we said these 2 teams, NYCFC, Charlotte, they're not pushovers, right?
Yeah.
So that key of an absence, how much is that going to affect this team? Is that enough to stumble Philadelphia off of that supporter shield? We'll see.
And don't forget too that Andre Blake has had an injury history. Pretty recently, he just came back not too long ago after getting injured against Red Bulls a few months ago, but his hamstring has been kind of bulky, so that's something to monitor as well. So if you have Andrew Rick in there, or I should say, if you have Blake in there, you certainly like your chances more than you do with Andrew Rick. And there's no disrespect toward Andrew Rick, but he's not Andre Blake. Andre Blake is a club legend. Andre Blake, as we've mentioned, one of the best keepers in CONCACAF history. And if he's missing for any stretch of time in the playoffs, that's trouble for the Union, who, like you said, already missing Sullivan for the playoffs and beyond. So let's see what happens there. And, I feel like the point is that the Union may have one hand on the trophy, as he said, but they aren't there yet. And again, you drop points, that leaves the door open for either Vancouver or Miami to walk through and steal that from you. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be interesting down the stretch. Now, let's talk about the Hudson River Derby, Henry.
Oh, that was fun.
Fun for NYCFC fans, not so much.
And for neutrals, because I love that
fans.
game. I had that on the big screen, admittedly, while Atlanta United was playing. That's a rivalry game, right? Mm-hmm. That's a serious rivalry. Jurgen Klopp was in the stands. That was interesting. But 3-2 win for NYCFC, making things very complicated for the Red Bulls. Because let's go look at the math, right? Red Bulls have 43 points and 2 games remaining.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, who was in the 9th seed, they have 48 points. That means they are 5 points up on them. Yep. Chicago has 3 games remaining. So if Chicago wins any of those 3 games, it's over for New York Red Bulls.
It could be over by Tuesday, because if Chicago beats Miami, that's at home, I believe. Chicago meets Miami at Soldier Field, it's done. Fire in the playoffs. Red Bulls are off the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. What a streak it's been at Miami, in Fort Lauderdale, I should say. But what a streak it's been, 15 years. But, the Red Bulls are on life support at this point in time. And, if you look at their schedule, they're going to have to win out and hope that the Fire collapse or, just cool off.
And the Red Bulls,
no pun intended.
And the Red Bulls, their opponents are the 2 Ohio teams. Home to Cincinnati and then decision day away at Columbus.
Yeah,
that's 2 tough teams to have to play against, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think they get it done.
You can't really draw. Don't. You can't draw.
No, you have to win out. If you don't win out, you have 0 chance. And if Chicago wins even one of their remaining 3 games,
It's
it's
done.
over. In fact, I think if they draw 2 of them, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, your options, I don't know, hold on, I gotta see the math. If they draw, the first tiebreakers wins, right?
Uh-huh.
First tiebreakers wins. If Chicago draws, okay, wait, they would be tied on wins. Either case, the
No,
math
Chicago will have 2 more wins. Chicago will
yeah,
have 2 more wins
but
over
if New York,
Miami.
assuming New York wins both of their games, because that's the only way that we would be talking about this math, then they would be tied on wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that's a lot of math.
There
But
you go, goal differential too.
the math is definitely in favor of Chicago. And that's why I'm thinking, I don't think Red Bulls can win against these 2 Ohio teams. And I think Chicago is going to finally, I think it's the first time since 2017 that they make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
That would be a huge moment for them under, as you mentioned earlier in the show, other Greg Berhalter, former U.S. men's national team head coach. It's a huge season for him at the Fire. He's done a great job in his role as head coach and technical director, bringing in
Yeah.
talented players. Philip Zinkernagel, absolutely fantastic this season. Jonathan Bamba, been fantastic as well. Just overall built a very, very strong team that deserves to be in the playoffs. And,
Yeah.
Chicago and the Fire faithful, they deserve this moment because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it has. And like you said, what a job that Berhalter has done constructing that roster. And, it's not the finished product. So in the offseason, let's assume they make the playoffs, but in the offseason, he's going to have more work to do to, get this team even more, even in better position than they are right now. But, they've had some hiccups throughout the season. And by no means is this a team that you can look at and say this is a team that will make a deep run of the playoffs. I think anybody who watches the league can understand that. But Zinkernagel is a great player. Kuipers is a great player. Gutierrez is one of the top midfielders, young midfielders in MLS, maybe one of the top midfielders, among the top midfielders, period, regardless of age. But if you look at Chicago's roster right now, they have Bamba and Kuipers, of course, are their DPs. They have 5 U22 players on the roster, but 1 is on loan. So they're kind of maxed out as far as U22s are concerned. Gutierrez is still around, of course. Davila has under contract through 2028, option for 2029. Barroso, same thing. You don't have a lot of flexibility if you want to bring another key name in if you're Greg Berhalter. And that depends on what you do with Brian Gutierrez. Still 22 years old, so I think he still will be on that U22 roster next year, even turning 23 in next June. But outside of that, you don't have a lot of flexibility. Maybe you sell one of these younger players, right, to open up a slot. So it's going to be interesting to see what Greg Berhalter does in the offseason to elevate this team. They don't have a lot of GAM. When you look at contracts, they don't have, I don't think, any significant players going out of contract outside of Jack Elliott. Kumane, they have him option years for the next 3 years. Chris Mueller has been dealing with injury. I don't think they're bringing him back. Tom Barlow out of contract with an option next year. And then you go on down the list. So I want to say any major names that will be out of contract when 2025 ends or have options next year. But I'm interested to see how Greg Berhalter elevates this team and hopefully tries to get them to the next level. I feel like obviously Kuipers, Zinkernagel, Bamba, Gutierrez will be a massive part of that. Gutman, who's having the season of his life, will be a big part of that. So interested to see what the Fire's next steps are. By the way, with the loss for the Red Bulls to NYCFC, Orlando clinched a playoff spot. So Orlando, I'm sure, are NYCFC fans, at least for a moment, because that got them in the postseason. I mean, they're always getting there, but
yeah, I don't think that was ever in doubt.
No,
They've been
not at all.
They've been too good this season.
No.
But yeah, that is deserved. I don't remember how many How many times in a row they've made the playoffs, but it's been several now. I think ever since, was it 2019 or 2020 that Oscar Pareja got there? Because he's
Orlando?
been, yeah, it was like 2020 or
Yeah.
2019 that Oscar Pareja got there. But ever since he got there, he's had this team in the playoffs every single season.
Mhm.
And the last few seasons, even, just competing at the top of the Eastern Conference. Last season, making it all the way to the conference final.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a huge credit to that organization, from the recruiting, getting players like Martin Ojeda, who has turned out to be one of the best 10s in the league.
Mhm.
Luis Muriel, who's having, some outstanding form right now. Marco Pasalic, who has come in
Mhm.
this season and shown to be one of the better attackers in the league, right? In the league where you have Messi and Son and Bouanga and all these other names that are so good.
Yeah.
Um, this Orlando squad has been very, very good, and a lot of
Duncan
that also.
McGuire. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
Whole another story there.
yeah, but that is a huge credit to them, and Oscar Pérez has
Mhm.
been at the center of that as well. So yeah, it's great for them, and I wonder how far they're going to get here, because in theory, at least to me, this is a team that is better than it was last season.
Mhm.
I want to say that it is. You have Alex Freeman having a breakout season as
Yep.
well. Um, you just have so much. Edward Atuesta, you brought him in the offseason, and he was. I have wanted him for Atlanta for a long time, because I've seen him as one of the best MLS midfielders in the past several seasons.
Mhm.
I just, they are a very solid team, and I think they're, as Colonel says, Orlando's a terrifying opponent in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely think that if you go into, especially once you get to the one game series, right past the first round, uh, Orlando is a tough opponent, and you can't really count them out, even if they're away, which they're probably going to be away a lot of the time, because they are seventh right now. Um, but
They
yeah,
would
I'm
beat
curious
Cincinnati
who
in 3-game series. I mean, they'll play
it
Cincinnati
would
if
be.
they started
Cincinnati, right?
today. Yeah. Second seed, yeah.
They
I
can
mean,
beat
Orlando,
Cincinnati, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? If they can take a disadvantage in a 3-game series and win that, there's no reason to think that they can't go and knock out in one, like, single elimination games. But we'll
Yeah.
see. Again, the playoffs, anything can happen. It is rife with upsets, right? As we've seen last season and in other seasons. One of the things that I like to reference is that the Shield winner usually doesn't win MLS Cup. And last time that
Mm,
happened was 2022 LAFC, but before that, I
mm.
can't really remember who it was or when.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Uh, the table can lie, because in MLS
Yeah.
in the playoffs, the regular season does not matter at all.
No, it doesn't. I feel like that's a homework assignment. Look at the last Supporter Shield winners to win MLS Cup. It's happened 8 times, like you said. Last time it happened was in 2022, but it's happened 8 times before: 97, 99, 2000, 2002, 08, 11, and 17, and then 22. So there's precedent, but it doesn't happen super often. Um, so to speak, LAFC, of course, Toronto 17, Galaxy 11, Crew 08, Galaxy 02, DC United back to back year, or DC United and Kansas City 99, 2000 back to back years, and then DC United in 97. So that is some rundown of teams that have won the Shield and MLS Cup at the same year, in the same year. So a little factoid for some of you. You know what else, Henry?
What?
ScarsandSpikes.com is your home for Atlanta United news, analysis, and opinion, match reactions, recaps, analysis, things of that particular nature, all that good stuff. It's on ScarsandSpikes.com. Also, a link to our store where you can get yourself a hat, get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself a hoodie. Weather is cooling down, Henry. Did you notice that? Weather is cooling down here in Atlanta.
It is fake fall.
I don't I don't know if it's fake fall. I mean, I think we're a legit
I,
fall
I
coming
don't
up
think
here.
it's I don't think it's cooling enough to the point where I'll call it actual fall. I think we're still in that fake fall season, transitioning to second summer.
It's gonna be later in the week. It's gonna be mid 70s, so that's gonna continue through early next week. But then it's gonna get up to near 80. But yeah, sooner or later it'll be actual real life fall, And we have a link to our store where you can get cooler weather gear like hoodies, like a coffee mug to drink a hot beverage of your choice, whether that be tea or coffee. A link to that is on scarfsandspikes.com.
How about a
Patreon.com,
pumpkin spice latte
pumpkin
for the
spice
season?
latte.
There you go.
Whatever floats your boat, anything you want in the mug. Well, not anything, but within reason. But however you use your mug is up to you. But yeah, get one at scarfsandspikes.com. There's a link to our store there. Patreon.com/scarfsandspikes is where you can support Scarves and Spikes. There are 3 tiers. Each one gets you access to our Discord. Multiple tiers, however much you donate, gets you access to exclusive content. We're working on some stuff to get up there this week and beyond. So stay tuned for that. Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Of course, we are on social media, Scarves, the letter N, Spikes on X, scarvesandspikes.com on Blue Sky, Scarves and Spikes on Instagram and Threads, Facebook.com/Scarves and Spikes. We are on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube if this is your first time watching. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart, please leave us a review. Leave us 5 stars. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you think of the show. Also, join us live. We're live Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday nights, before every Atlanta United match, and then the day after every Atlanta United match at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know how we're going to swing that because Atlanta United plays on Sunday this week, but stay tuned to our social media accounts to let you know, or to find out when we'll be live after the LAFC match, which will be, we both expect, Henry, an absolute bloodbath.
There will be goals.
There will be goals. Name your scoreline, LAFC. You'll probably be right.
Probably be better off forfeiting the game, honestly.
Right. Yeah. No, but tune into our social media channels. We'll let you know what our plans are after that match. We have a watch along channel that we'll set up on our Discord. Again, to get access to that Discord, go to patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. I think we mentioned the teams that clinched this past match day, Henry. Columbus clinched with a Red Bulls loss as well. Orlando clinched with the Red Bulls loss. Seattle, again, drew with the Whitecaps draw, or got in with the Whitecaps draw, I should say. We already mentioned Chicago can clinch the playoffs if they beat Miami on Tuesday. But the Western Conference, I mean, it's a Wild Wild West. They call it the Wild Wild West for a reason, right?
Yeah. And
I don't know if it's for this reason, but they do call it the Wild Wild West.
you never know. But
Yeah.
what we do know is that it is a tight playoff race in the West. There are several teams that are still trying to either hold on to their spot or somehow claw their way into one. And yeah, mainly you have, I mean, it's Houston with 36 that is trying to get in. San Jose has 38.
Yeah.
It's a 2-point gap. Definitely something that you can make up.
Yeah.
Houston has 2 games remaining. San Jose has 2 games remaining. But in that bubble, you still have RSL with 37, Dallas with 38 that are, in 11th and 10th respectively with 31 games.
Yeah.
It is an interesting scenario.
Yeah.
I think, it could be any of these teams. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's going to be fun to see these last couple of match days, these last few match days, to see who can keep kind of churning out the results and, who kind of gets left by the wayside. But it's that is the more interesting playoff series for sure, because I think the East is mostly set in stone.
Yeah, so I mean, let's look at the teams that are still in it. We start with Austin and Portland. Austin and Portland, I feel like, are as good as in. Austin hosts St. Louis, hosts LAFC at St. Jose. I think if they beat St. Louis, we'll have to wait for the permutations to come out. But I think if they beat St. Louis, they will officially clinch a playoff spot. Portland, who are not in great form, so even if they make the playoffs, it may be a short stay for Phil Neville's men, but at Seattle, Cascadia Derby, and then San Diego on decision day. So Austin, Portland, 44 points. Then you have Colorado, San Jose, Dallas, Salt Lake, or RSL. Teams you mentioned are in that 4 to 5 point bubble. Houston, 36 points. Colorado, okay, let's look at their schedule coming up. The Rapids, who do they play? Let me pull it up because
While you're doing
they're
that,
at. Go ahead.
I just want to
Go
talk
ahead.
about San Jose because
Uh-huh.
they are that team in the ninth seed, and they're the one that is most being chased, and they're tied on points with Dallas, which is
Mm-hmm.
right below them. But these are the two games they have remaining. Vancouver away, that's always tough.
Yeah.
Uh, and then home to Austin, which
Mm,
is that's a closer game. I think they actually faced each other in the Open Cup, I think quarterfinals, but that is a closer game. I think that San Jose probably has a better chance of winning, but either way, that opens up an avenue for several of these teams to get in.
yeah.
Dallas again, right below them tied on them with points, has two games against the LA Galaxy consecutively, right, home
Yeah.
and then away, and then decision day is at Vancouver. So again, several of these teams that are either in that ninth seed or close to that ninth seed, they don't have an easy schedule. And so that
Mm.
opens up space for your RSLs and your Houstons to like potentially get in if they can string some results together.
Speaking of, get to RSL in a second, but Colorado, they're at RSL. Their next match, and then the end of the season decision day against LAFC. So that match, that Rocky Martin Derby match against RSL, is massive, massive. I would say that is a must win for Colorado if they're going to have any chance of the playoffs, because you don't want to go against LAFC at BMO Stadium in the match where if you lose, you're out of the playoffs. So I feel like Colorado, if they beat RSL, you feel much better about going into LAFC with your playoff hopes still intact. So that's Colorado. RSL again hosting Colorado, at Seattle, and then at St. Louis. So not a I don't want to say a difficult schedule for them, but RSL can really play, I guess, spoiler to some extent, for Colorado's hopes. Of course, then they go to Seattle and St. Louis. So I think you need, just looking at the schedule you here, you need at least maybe 4 points or 5 points out of these next three matches here to have any hope, because that would get you to 42. And I think you feel a lot better about getting it with maybe a little bit over 42, especially given the fact that Houston is at 36. Houston, by the way, looking at their schedule, they have San Diego coming in, and then they're at Sporting Kansas City. So I feel like if you're Houston, you definitely have to win both matches. But it's just crazy to see how tight this is. I don't think it's been this tight in a while toward the bottom of the standings in any conference, right? Unless I'm misremembering.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are occasions where it gets to decision day and you have like a few that are trying to kind of secure their spot or what have you. I know that last season, I think it was the last two spots in the East that were in play, and Atlanta was one
Mm,
of those. It was like, I don't know, like 5% chance of them getting in, and they did.
yeah,
It's like you needed a combination of Philadelphia losing and Cincinnati losing or whatever it was, but you needed a combination of results, and ultimately, that came to be. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to really go back to kind of see if there was one where you have, what is it, like 6, 7 teams that could legitimately, that are in this kind of scrap.
yep,
Um, but yeah, for me, there's kind of some that are stronger than others. As we mentioned, Austin, Portland, they probably have their spot more or less locked down. Uh, for me, Houston also is one that's probably going to fall by the wayside. They have 2 games remaining, and one of them is against San Diego.
yeah,
Um, that's a game that I think is going to be much too tough for them. And their final decision day game is Sporting Kansas City. But even if you win that, that leaves you at what, 39 points?
yep,
You would have to hope that the 3 other teams in front of you do not get points for you to get into the playoffs.
mhm,
So it's a tough situation for Houston, but um, I think that there is a chance for a team like RSL. though they have a tough game at Seattle. That is after this Rocky Mountain Derby. Um, I mean, first of all, for them, that you have to win that game, and then
Yep.
you have decision day at St. Louis. I think that's a game that they can reasonably win. I don't know, man. The schedules are they are more in favor, I want to say, of like an RSL and potentially Dallas. I don't know, but
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not seeing a team like Houston or even really San Jose holding on to that spot, given the quality of opponents they have to face, and they have just the 2 games remaining.
Even if they do make the playoffs, even those bottom teams, they're not set up for a deep run. I don't think you're going to
No,
see
no.
an Atlanta United-esque playoff masterpiece or playoff triumph. If you look at Portland, Colorado, San Jose, Dallas, RSL, Houston, right now top seed is San Diego.
There's just too much quality
Or
near the
Vancouver.
top, man.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So,
and not even to mention, because these teams, right? They're probably making like the 8th or 9th seed. They have to first of all play the play-in game, but then they have to go up against. You're either going up against San Diego or Vancouver. Whoever gets that top spot in the West. It just, I don't know. I think those are teams that they're going to have way too much quality, especially in a 3-game series.
No, absolutely. That's one that can go down to the wire for decision day. So while we be watching how the Shield race ends up, we'll certainly be watching how the Western Conference race shakes out. Eastern Conference should be set by the time decision day rolls around, I would think. We have the Open Cup final, Henry, on Wednesday. It snuck up on me. I was telling you before the show. We were talking before the show. I forgot that was coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah. The
It's here.
oldest cup competition in the U.S. That is, it's going to have a new champion crowned on Wednesday between Austin FC and Nashville SC. Austin competing for its first title in history. This is their first final. The farthest they've ever gotten in any competition.
Nashville too.
Well, yeah, but Nashville's been in a final because they were in Leagues Cup,
Leagues Cup
2023, where they lost on pens to Messi and co Inter Miami. Bit of a heartbreak, but yeah, it would be a first title for both teams. Austin, this is their first final, and they're playing at home at Q2 Stadium. So obviously that's going to be a huge moment for both teams. The winner gets obviously a trophy, but also a spot in next year's CONCACAF Champions Cup. So obviously lots in play there. It's difficult for me to pick a winner because in theory, Nashville has the better team, right? In theory, they have been better throughout the season.
In theory.
But I don't know. They've kind of been slipping, man. They haven't really held it together towards the end here. And Austin, they've kind of been inspired a little bit. They have gotten some results toward the end, and that's how they've gotten kind of the position where they are right now. Nico Estevez has done a great job with them, and despite losing your big offseason signing in Brandon Vasquez to a season-ending injury, they've put it together. Mirto Uzuni has absolutely showed up for this team. Owen Wolf is balling out again. You just have so much that is coming together for Austin that you have to like your chances going into this final.
Yeah, I feel like Austin is kind of the team of destiny, aren't they?
I guess you could say that.
They've been playing. Just the way they, won in the semifinal. CJ Fodry scoring deep in second half, or not second half stoppage time, but second half of extra time, stoppage time.
120th minute, right?
Yeah, something like that to put Austin in the final. And here they are, Austin and Nashville, like you said, both teams looking for their first trophy in club history. Biggest match in the club's history, either club's history. I think it's going to be hard to bet against Nashville because of the quality they have on their roster. Mutar, Surridge, of course, leading the way there. But Austin, man, I feel like the vibes are higher with Austin. Just the way they've come together, the way they've rallied, sort of the spirit around that team and the determination of that team. And, a lot of times that can win out over sheer talent, just the togetherness. And that's not to say Nashville aren't together, but Austin, has just been finding ways to win. Their will to win has been tested all throughout this tournament, right? And they've met every challenge thus far. Like you said, it's at Q2 Stadium, so Austin FC fans won't need any invitation to be loud for their team and bring the noise. I imagine that'll be a sell. I haven't seen ticket prices, but it's going to be a sell, I'm sure. But again, biggest match in the club's history, for either club's history, biggest match on the club level for Austin FC in that building. And yeah, it's going to be hard for me to bet against Austin FC winning the U.S. Open Cup and getting that spot in Champions Cup next year. And then, hey, they're still in playoff contention, so who knows what could happen in the playoffs. I don't think they'll make a deep run, but for all intents and purposes, this is their U.S. Open, or this is their MLS Cup, right? You saw this team, what they did several years ago, made that miracle run to, not miracle run, but that unexpected run to the Western Conference Finals, and they've just tailed off ever since. This hasn't been a terrific season for them. It's been a decent season. It's been good enough to almost get them in the playoffs, but I think when you look at their U.S. Open Cup journey thus far, that will definitely inspire them, I think, to win.
Yeah, it's the best chance for both of these teams to win a trophy this season, I think. It's literally just win this one game. You have your trophy. Both of them are kind of, mid-table in their respective conferences right now. Both of them are sixth place in their conferences, actually, I think so, exactly like mid-table. This is everything's on the line for them because neither of them really have any way to qualify to CONCACAF Champions Cup outside of this. And that is obviously the big thing for any MLS club or any club in North America, really, is to make it to CONCACAF Champions Cup. And from there, there's always a chance. So we'll see. I think both of them definitely have to go in with everything because this is a chance to make for a bright spot on the season for you to give your fans a big joy, right? Big happiness. And then, best of luck to you. That's also a momentum boost for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. But if you ask me, I think Austin probably, I like their chances a little bit better. Nashville, you can never count them out, but just given some of the more recent form and given that it's being played at Q2 Stadium and this Austin team has kind of figured things out, I would probably be more inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Do you think it ends in regulation or does it go to extra time and or penalties?
I'm going to say,
what's your gut feeling?
I'm going to say regulation. It's going to be a 1-0 win for Austin.
I think extra time. I think this just has to feel like an extra time, another extra time match.
Hopefully, that's make it more fun.
Hey, that's just my gut feeling right now. But should be a fun one. Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Time kickoff, I believe, at Q2 Stadium. It'll be on Paramount Plus. So tune in for that on Wednesday. By the way, we'll be live at 7 p.m. So when we get done with our show on Wednesday, watch the U.S. Open Cup, and we'll probably try to update you as it goes on if we can. Well, it'll be done. It'll be started when we're done.
Yeah, but Sydney, there's another trophy up for grabs on Wednesday, isn't there?
The Canadian Championship.
There are two other trophies up for grabs on Wednesday. But hey, Sydney, I'll tell you something right now.
Yes.
You heard it here first. I guarantee you Vancouver will win the Canadian Championship.
I agree. I think I like those odds. I really do.
It's Vancouver Whitecaps versus Vancouver FC at 10 p.m. on Wednesday at BC Place. So we'll see what happens there. But the winner of that, does that get you a spot? I don't think it does it?
Champions Cup, yeah.
Does it? Okay, cool. Well, then winner gets a spot in Champions Cup. If you're the Whitecaps, I don't think you're really worrying about that right now. But hey, there's that. There's the trophy. The Whitecaps have won it how many years in a row now?
I mean, I think I'll have to double check. I haven't really kept track of the Canadian Championship, to be honest with you. I just know the final is Wednesday. But winner of that gets one of Canada's 3 berths to the Champions Cup in 2026. The other 2 berths go to the Canadian Premier League champions, the Canadian Premier League Shield winners. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thomas Müller has a chance to win his first piece of silverware with Vancouver.
I know. And he just got here.
He just got here. But yeah, that's happening. And then
Yeah.
also there is at 10:30 p.m. the Campeones Cup between.
Was that the one you were talking about, by the way?
That was the one I was talking. I completely forgot about Canada.
Okay.
Though I had it earlier in the show. I had
I
it in
know.
my mind to make the Vancouver joke, and then I completely forgot about it until you
Yeah.
mentioned it. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I knew that's what you were talking about. Give me a hard time.
LA Galaxy hosting Toluca at Dignity Health Sports Park for I believe this is like the 6th or 7th edition of Campeones Cup. Yeah, for me it's probably a Toluca win. Even though LA Galaxy is playing at home. Toluca they are, I think, still first in Liga MX. They have a lot of quality in the form of, Alexis Vega. I believe they have Jesus Gallardo as well. 2 Mexican national team players that are, stars on this team. I just think it's too much quality for a Galaxy side that, even though they've kind of put some results together towards the end of the season, I don't know that it'll be enough. But on the flip side, you have to consider that the Galaxy are going to be extra motivated because this is a chance, the last chance that they have to end the season on a positive note. Because after this, you don't really have anything. You're out of the playoffs and there's nothing else to play for. So this is their chance to give their fans a trophy to celebrate after what has been a painful season. And, I think there are some arguments to be made there. Joseph Paintsil just won the player of the match week or match day for MLS because he scored his first hat trick over the weekend in a 4-1 win over Sporting Kansas City. So they're informed, they're obviously motivated. I think it's going to be a fun game, but I do think that Toluca is going to just have the upper hand.
You know who will be who's on the Campeones Cup roster that just dropped not long ago?
Miguel Berry? No.
Him too. Ricky Pooch is on the Campeones Cup roster. I mean, of course, there's no guarantee that he's going to play, but at least he's on there. At least he would be available. I don't think he will be.
Do you play Ricky Pooch at all?
No, you don't. I mean,
I think you give him a rest until 2026.
It's just pretty much because you have him available. You'll
have
him available.
Maybe if it goes to like the penalty kicks or something, like maybe you put him on for penalties, but I would not have him like running around on a
not at all.
Not completely healed or just freshly, healed. What was it, Achilles or ACL, whatever it was. I would not risk it.
Me neither. The Campeones Cup Wednesday, Canadian Championship Wednesday, and then U.S. Open Cup Final Wednesday should be a fun-filled Wednesday of soccer matches to watch, our unsponsored matches to watch for the next match day. So a lot of great matches on Saturday, the last match before the international break, and then after that, Henry, we will be at Decision Day. So what is your match to watch for this upcoming weekend here?
I'll go with Philadelphia NYCFC. It's a clash at the top of the East. 2 teams that are very solid. Both are motivated to get results. I didn't realize NYCFC is 3 points below Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So a win, and they could potentially threaten to overtake Cincinnati and take that second spot. And also it could stop Philadelphia from getting away with the Shield. So we'll see what happens. But that, I think, is a very interesting game. Both teams are going to be super motivated, and they have both obviously some good quality.
No, for sure. I'm going to go with Orlando Columbus, 7:30 Eastern time on Saturday. Orlando, like I said earlier, I mean, they've been decent, but they haven't really, I guess, pulled away from the pack. I mean, they're 1 win, a loss, and 2 draws in the past 4 matches, and that's been against Nashville to win, loss against Nashville at Nashville, and then draws against DC United and Cincinnati. So, and they had to come back to draw against Cincinnati, I should say. So, I don't know, maybe there's a little concern for Orlando. I do think that if they get into a head-to-head with Cincinnati, I do like Orlando's chances, but they do need to show that they're a team built for the playoffs. Like you said, the talent's there, but they just haven't been able to pull away. And I think if they can build some form, build some momentum over these next 3 matches that they have coming up, these final 3 matches they have coming up, starting with their match at home against Columbus on Saturday, that should equip them to really make a good run of it in the playoffs, starting with, if it playoff where to start today would be Cincinnati. So I'm going to say Orlando versus Columbus, 7:30 kickoff time on Saturday as my match to watch.
Speaking of Orlando, I just have to say this, even though we didn't kind of do the segment at the beginning, like sometimes we do it. But the my favorite thing from the weekend was the ref cam on Sunday Night Soccer with Rodrigo Schlegel like getting down on his knees, begging the ref not to give him a yellow card. That was cinema.
That's funny. That's funny. I love the ref cams. I'm sure we'll see one. Sunday Night Soccer match will be LAFC or Atlanta United, so I'm sure we'll see that featured at some point. But yeah, it's been interesting. It's been fun to watch that. So yeah, ref cam, I'm sure will be expanded in 2026. But yeah, that's one of the memes that came out this past weekend is Rodrigo Schlegel. So yeah. Anything else?
I don't know. I think that's pretty much it for this week in MLS. Yeah, a lot of soccer coming this week, and it's crazy to think that the season's almost over, Sydney.
Yeah, no, for sure. By the way, if you're a Atlanta United fan, if you're a fan of MLS, watch the U20s, US U20s. They beat New Caledonia 9-1, as we figured they'd win. But from Atlanta angle, Luke Brennan is in that. Noah Cobb is, of course, on loan to Colorado, is in that, along with a host of MLS and former MLS players. Ben Hakremesky had a really good match against New Caledonia, a hat trick and 2 assists for Kremesky, the Parma man, formerly, of course, of Inter Miami. So U20 World Cup continuing this week. And the schedule of how you can watch the United States matches is on scarsandspikes.com. Henry, where are you on social media? You good? You know where you are?
Sorry, my I had an audio issue there. Sorry.
Okay. Make sure you were okay over there.
Yeah, I know. I had a bit of a technical difficulties, but we're back.
Good. I'm glad. We're almost done, Henry.
We were so close too.
Yeah.
You asked for socials, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
At H.A. Higuita, pretty much everywhere.
Awesome. I'm SH Rice on X, SH Rice on Blue Sky, SH.soccer on Instagram and Threads, Scarves the Letter and Spikes on X, scarvesandspikes.com on Blue Sky, Scarves and Spikes, Instagram and Threads, Facebook.com/scarvesandspikes. Like, subscribe, share content on YouTube, subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart. Get the audio version of this show and all our content. Be sure to like our audio feed, subscribe, and leave a review, and let us know how we're doing. And with that, we say goodbye, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Bye, guys. Right.
This is where we add our post-show conversation.
Sydney, where is New Caledonia on the map?
It is east of Australia. I'm pulling it up just to keep myself honest here. It is, yeah, in the Coral Sea. I would say about, 400 miles off the coast of Australia. That's a rough estimate based on the map I'm looking at. I don't know.
Gotcha. That's great. Also, guys, if you're still with us, just to let you know that Sydney and I will be going tomorrow to Atlanta United's kind of big unveiling of the training ground expansion that they've been working on over the past several months. It's huge. It I think doubles the total kind of square footage of the training ground, if I remember that correctly. But it's a massive investment, and it's going to be really, really cool. So we will have some updates, some really good stuff coming out about that. So just keep an eye on that.
Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yep. Right.
We'll try to keep it clean. We won't mess up anything and leave it
Yeah.
dirty.
For sure.
Or try to break anything either.
No, definitely not. You have to go check out the new state-of-the-art studio that they have over there.
Absolutely. Can't wait
Maybe
to see
we'll
that.
do an episode of the podcast there one day.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. All right, well, thanks. We'll see you next time.
See ya.